Jesus who loves the children and youth. When we read what it teaches, we can receive heaven's truth. It tells us that the God above has a plan for this lost world. It tells us that this God of love cares for each boy and girl. I believe what Jesus says to me. I believe in the Bible.
Hi friends, my name is Jonathan.
And I'm his sister Michelle.
Welcome to our program, I Believe, where we will learn all the basic beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to talk about the topic that dates all the way back to creation. Can you guess what that might be?
Are we going to talk about the Sabbath? Because at the end of creation, the Bible tells us that God rested on the seventh day.
You guessed right. God set aside this special day for us to remember Him as our Creator and how He made our world. Not only did He rest on the Sabbath, but He blessed that day and hallowed it.
I never thought of God needing to rest.
I don't think He rested because He was tired, though. It was more a time to look over what He had created and see that it was very good.
Kind of like when an artist finishes a painting and stops to admire it.
Exactly.
And what does hallowed it mean?
Well, it means to keep the Sabbath day holy and to treat it as a special day. We are to rest from working, studying, and all of the other busy things that fill the other 6 days of the week. This way, we have time to fellowship with other believers and to delight in God.
It would have been so amazing to spend the first Sabbath in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve and all the animals.
In the years that followed, those who loved and obeyed God continued to keep Sabbath sacred. But many people forgot the blessing of the Sabbath.
How funny that they would forget the one commandment that mentions the word remember. So are there some examples of Sabbath keeping in the Bible?
In Exodus, we see the Israelites honoring Sabbath by gathering a double portion of manna sent from heaven on Friday. Leftover manna spoiled on the other 6 days of the week. But on Sabbath, the extra manna stayed fresh and tasty.
So every week for 40 years, the Israelites had a little miracle happen right in front of their eyes. That's amazing.
We also see Nehemiah got really upset when people kept working on their farms and shopping during Sabbath. So he shut the gates of Jerusalem to keep the salespeople out.
So all through the Bible, we see God's faithful people setting the seventh day apart to spend time with God and worship. What about Jesus? What did He do when He was on earth?
The Gospels tell us that Jesus regularly went to the synagogue on Sabbath.
I do remember stories of Jesus healing people on the Sabbath.
In fact, when people had problems with that, Jesus said it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. And He also said the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
That tells me that Jesus created the Sabbath as a happy day where we can spend time with Him and also help people.
And that's what our belief talks about this week. What do we believe about the Sabbath?
I believe when God made the earth so long ago, He rested the seventh day. He set it apart so we could know He's God forever and always. We keep the Sabbath holy to honor our loving Lord, with time for rest and acts of mercy as Jesus did before.
When God made the earth so long ago, He rested the seventh day. He set it apart so we could know He's God forever and always. We keep the Sabbath holy to honor our loving Lord, with time for rest acts of mercy as Jesus did before. When God made the earth so long ago, He rested the seventh day. He set it apart so we could know He's God forever and always. We keep the Sabbath holy to honor our loving Lord, with time for rest and acts of mercy as Jesus did before.
More than 100 years after Jesus died, some Christians began worshiping on Sunday, or the Lord's Day, to honor Jesus' resurrection. For years, many Christians rested and worshiped on Saturday, and then worshiped again on Sunday. But in the year 321, the Roman Emperor Constantine issued a decree that all Christians were to begin observing Sunday as a day of rest. The Roman Church at the time claimed it had the power to change God's law. The Bible had predicted this shocking rebellion in Daniel chapter 7.
In Genesis, the Bible says the days of creation started in the evening. It says, "So the evening and the morning were the first day." In the same way, the Sabbath goes from sunset on Friday night to sunset on Saturday night.
You shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. You shall keep my Sabbaths, I am the Lord. Leviticus 26 verse 2. You shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. You shall keep my Sabbaths, I am the Lord. Leviticus 26 verse 2.
For today's science experiment, we will look at this orange and how it floats. Here are the materials we need: an orange, a big container of water, and a knife. First, I'm going to put this orange in the water. We can see that it floats pretty well. Now, this orange needs to be peeled. Now I'm going to put the peeled orange into the water. The peeled orange does not flow at all. The orange and its peel reminds me a bit about the Sabbath. When we keep the Sabbath, it acts as a protection against sin and keeps our life afloat, like the peel kept the orange afloat. Let's remember to keep the Sabbath, to spend time with God and worship Him as our Creator.
You shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. You shall keep my Sabbaths, I am the Lord.
project lesson is titled Remembering. Clark's nutcrackers belong to the family of birds that also include jays, crows, and ravens. Their main food is pine seeds. One of the interesting things about Clark's nutcrackers is how they collect and store food for the winter ahead of time. Clark's nutcrackers have a pouch under their tongue that can hold dozens of pine seeds. In the late summer and fall, these birds are very busy collecting pine seeds from pine cones and using that special pouch to carry them away and store them for the winter. One bird may harvest and store tens of thousands of seeds, but they don't store all the seeds in one place. They generally hide only a few seeds in one given place, which means that by the time the winter comes, they have seeds stored in thousands of locations. Having done this, when a Clark's nutcracker gets hungry in the winter, all he needs to do is remember where he stored some pine seeds. It's really amazing that even months later they are still able to remember places where they have stored their pine seeds. God gave us brains that can remember things too. And in the fourth commandment, he tells us to remember something very, very important. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Sabbath helps us remember that God is our creator. And when we choose to keep it holy, it is a sign that we are choosing to belong to him. Let's choose today that we will always keep God's Sabbath holy and honor him as our creator. Learning about the Sabbath was great. Sabbath is definitely my favorite day of the week.
Hope you guys had fun too. See you next time to learn more about the Bible.
When God made the earth so long ago, he rested the seventh day. He set it apart so